they're recommending me to other brands. I've had some pitches come to my inbox that are like, we saw what you did with this brand. We want to do the same thing. Or we want to pay you more to do more stuff for us. Right. And now I'm like, wait, what's happening?
I'm here with Krystal Proffitt. This is so fun in person.
Yes.
And I thought it'd be fun to sit down and talk about what your experience was like going through the Brand Deal Wizard program.
Okay, so I had 0 sponsorships before I had gone. I'd had many failed attempts. Well, let me back that up with I had made content for some other brands, but it was never this like, oh, I've had sponsored content. It was just like, okay, this brand's willing to pay me. I will absolutely make money, or, like make this content to make money because I'm broke and I have no idea what I'm doing. So I don't call that a successful sponsorship. That was just like pie in the sky. Like I made my first dollar online kind of situation. But what ended up happening is as I was going through the program, for whatever reason, because I've been doing this since 2018. So I came into it the way that you're not supposed to start a course. I was like, I know all of this. Justin isn't going to blow my mind. But what you did that I've never done in any other course is you have this, it's this graph, and you're going to have to remind me what it's called, but it shows it's a spectrum of all the information. So you take this initial assessment on yourself and the knowledge that you know today, so you can see the gap. And doing that, it's like on pitching, negotiation, contracts, like where is it that maybe you have strengths already and maybe we can just, work on those muscles a little bit. And where is it like, oh, Krystal, you're trying to go run a marathon and you're still on the couch. Like you need to get some information. And it helped me so much because I was like, oh my gosh, I really need to pay attention in the negotiation stuff. Because that's where I really struggled, creating the content, talking to brands, not an issue for me, but really figuring out what questions do I need to ask and how do I keep this conversation going where if someone pitches me, I don't just say, yes, that's great. Please give me money. Like you're giving me $1. This is fantastic. Like, cause that's how I was super thirsty, right?
Yeah.
Like just thirsty for anybody that was willing to pay me.
Right.
But it really opened my eyes to, oh, but Krystal, you are worth so much more. And you could be making so much more money. And it's not just about the money. It's about the impact of credibility too. It's like it's like the win-win-win, right? You can absolutely create content that you're proud of, that you're so excited to share. You can make money doing it, but you can also cultivate and develop these relationships with brands that are like, they're recommending me to other brands. Like I have had, through the grapevine, I've had some pitches come to my inbox that are like, we saw what you did with this brand. We want to do the same thing. Or we want to tweak it a little bit. Or we want to pay you more to do more stuff for us. Right. And now I'm like, wait, what's happening? What's happening? So that's been my experience.
That's incredible. What, did you have an aversion ever to sponsorships? Like thinking, no, I don't know if this is real. Like, oh, I would prefer to just sell my own stuff, instead of doing sponsorships.
So being in the podcast space and listening to a million podcasts, I have heard it done really, really wrong. So I did have an aversion to a company saying, I want to work with you, but this is the only thing you can say. Like, here's your script, then we'll pay you, because that feels very counterintuitive to who I am. It goes against my values because I'm unscripted. That's my whole thing is I don't script myself. I don't put a lot of things down and tell myself, you have to say these exact words. So I did have an aversion to working with a company that says, you can only do this, you can only say this, you can only use our colors, you can only that's really what scared me away for a long time, I think, is having that, a binding contract. A binding contract to say these specific things that scared the crap out of me because I'm risk averse. So I'm like, oh, legal stuff.
Right.
Like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go to jail. I'm going to rot in prison for saying, in the middle of an ad. So that's what was scary for me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Real quickly, I'm curious, when you started in 2018, was sponsorships even on your radar? Tell me about where your mindset was with building the business back then.
That's That's a good question. I think that because when I first started, I was kind of in the Amy Porterfield world of learning about courses and everything. So I was like, I'm going to make a course and I'm going to make $1 bajillion.
Right.
And it's like, fun fact, that's not what happened.
Yeah, me neither. When I started either, don't worry.
But I think that, I never thought about sponsors because I just like, I'm not big enough. That's been my blog for a long time. And even now it's like, I have a decent following, I still don't have millions of people. I have a decent podcast size, but I still am like, oh, but I'm not the Amy Porterfield or I'm not these people that have these, number one, whatever. And so you just really helped me, inside the program, shift that mindset to like, we got to think about this differently. We're not thinking about it in the right way.
Man. What if there was like one takeaway that you had from going through the program and coming out the other end of it and feeling like, wow, I'm so glad that was I'm different, I'm changed now after that. Is there one thing you can think of?
Confidence. Which is funny because I'm a pretty confident person. It's like,
so you're maxing out the confidence.
So I'm like, I have never been someone that's like shy or like, in front of the camera or anything like that. But confidence to go back to someone and say, that's a great idea, but here's how we could make it better. Or, like, here's a different way that we could do it instead of just being that person that's like, yes, like I'll take your money and I'll do whatever. Like that's just not who I want to be. So having that confidence of like, oh no, Justin's told me like this is possible because it's worked for other people. So let's do this thing. Let's negotiate. My negotiation muscles. Like, I mean, they're here now, y'all. I have them. They're awesome.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, thank
and
you.
I'm so excited for everything that's in store for you for the future.
Yes.
Can we do a cheers here with the water and the liquid death?